Hey everyone, I really don't feel like making a video right now, but because this is what I committed to, this is what I'm doing. So I spent a good part of the day just working on fulfilling client work. One of my clients was finally ready to get started on a website, so I got a good chunk of the homepage done today. And it kind of made me realize I have a problem with when I build or do creative things. Even actually when I did 3D, this was a really big issue. I would get through kind of a treacherous part and I would catch myself just looking at what I'm doing and like previewing it over and over again. When I fully have like actual productive things to do, I'll just like click around on the website that I designed and kind of admire it and just make micro tweaks, and I kind of almost like black out, and like 20 minutes goes by and all I'm doing is just like scrolling around the homepage that I just built. I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but this was a really big problem with me in 3D. Like I'd get some keyframes ready or I'd nail like the textures just right, and I'd like watch my own animation over and over again or something along those lines. And it's like such a ridiculous, weird form of procrastination. So just another example of, at this stage, my literal number one enemy, or not, I guess not my enemy, that seems like a bad idea to say that, but my number one like bottleneck in this operation is literally my own mind. I fully have things to do. I have a list next to me of things I know I should do, and my mind just finds weird ways to sabotage. So that's really part of what we're trying to crack, is just the subconscious self-sabotage that's happening like all the time in little weird ways. Other than that, I've been talking a little bit more on the dental forums just about kind of random stuff with these people, and it's kind of fun. I don't know if this stuff's going to really pay off long term, but my mandatory response, my mandatory contribution to the dental forum today was literally just in regards to somebody talking about like longevity kind of health stuff. So I wrote this somewhat detailed paragraph about how people in like non-Western countries, think like rural India, Myanmar, like parts of Africa, etc., they take like a deep squat, you know what I mean, where it's like flat-footed deep squat, and that's kind of a default like waiting position, or people work or they eat in that form. And as a result, they're in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they have amazing like leg mobility, like their bodies are flexible, they can get down and up super easily. And it was kind of about how Westerners with like modern shoes and very sedentary like desk chair lifestyles, we really train our bodies out of that. And so anyways, I started talking about that in this thread that randomly popped up on the dental forum, and somebody asked me a question, and then I responded to the question. They're like, oh, thanks. Completely unrelated to what I'm doing, but just fun. You can really find like a little sense of community anywhere. And I think even if it's in really small ways, I think it'll be good just for me to be active. And I'm finding myself actually like seeing the same people in different threads and things like that. So I don't know, this forum might have a bit of a limit, and it kind of occurred to me that this strategy of just talking on the forum and hoping people come to me it's a very passive way of going about things. Not that there's anything super wrong with that, other than, there is an aggressive way to do outreach and kind of guarantee that you do enough numbers and get yourself in front of enough people. And then there's the kind of passive route which I'm taking. And so I'm trying to like do some evaluation in my head. Do I really want to just be posting and talking about this stuff and calling it good, or do I want to be a little more aggressive with the outreach? And if so, what do I do? Because I tried to do cold DMs through my personal Instagram account. And by the way, this is the same Instagram account I did cold outreach through when I was doing 3D. I was thinking about it, and it's like, I'm much more likely to respond to somebody who's obviously talking to me through a personal account. I'm, if your profile photo is like a logo, I'm more than likely, I'm assuming that you're selling something, and so I do it through personal. But for some reason, it looks like my Instagram account got shadow banned, and I even sent a DM to somebody else who, would normally reply, but I'm pretty sure I ended up in spam. So I think for the foreseeable future, my account is kind of flagged, and that's just the frustrating part about cold outreach, is they don't give you a concrete way to see if your deliverability is any good. They just quietly like mute you. So it's really frustrating to, think about doing some kind of, aggressive outbound when I can put hours and hours and hours of effort in and just get flagged as like a spammer when I'm literally writing like personalized messages based on like a good amount of research and stuff. So I don't really know what to do. If you guys have any good ideas for cold outreach, I know, cold email is obviously a numbers game, and I could technically do that, but I don't know. Am I playing this really stupid by not just doing cold email? or should I just focus on more kind of content creation? Because content creation, you know, at the end of the day, it's kind of a machine of its own. If I start posting on YouTube regularly, that turns into a machine that I somewhat own. You know, obviously it's a YouTube account, but at least I have sort of a way to reach people. The dental forum, you know, I'm kind of going fishing in a smaller pond by doing that. I'm putting out little tidbits and hoping that I form connections and make contact. But with things like DMs, it's just so frustrating how easy it is to get flagged as a spammer, and you won't even know until you get suspiciously few replies. You have somebody tell you that your message ended up in spam, and then you realize that, you know, the several days of back-to-back constant DMing wasn't really worth it. So this is still absolutely the hard part. And just to, you know, update those of you who don't know, I got that first client on day 19. I got a second one on day 33, and we've now damn near doubled that, you know, amount of time since the second client. And that's a pretty long window with no new clients. And, you know, I'm not like, you know, gonna die, but I'm not exactly doing great on money right now. And so it's pretty important that I get another client fairly soon. And so I don't want to play the passive game anymore, but I don't really know what to do when it feels like everything else has kind of a decent chance that it's going to amount to nothing. So, but whatever, this is part of the mental test. This is part of what you must overcome. You know, these obstacles, it's easy to convince yourself that like these are unique to your situation and that you're just unlucky. But I've been very lucky in a lot of places, and luck has come at me in all different forms, and I believe that it will continue to come. It's just, you know, sometimes you go through a drought like this and it feels extra hard. So anyways, I appreciate you all for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.